As my co-host said, we are doing HBCU news around the culture. Then the WNBA update, real quick update. Then we're going to go NCAA football, NFL football, and then our closing as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's get into it.
You know we happy when we both got our Falcons hats on.
Oh, we win. We win,
this is what
bro.
we got, baby.
Hey, man, you got to take the wins when you get them. Let's talk about HBCUs. Y'all know what it is. We cover the MEAC and the SWAC. We will follow up with the SIAC and CIAA later this week. First, we're going to start off with the MEAC. Howard. So, as you saw on Saturday Morning Live, that this was a couple money games in here. There's a little bit of cash register. That right there. So, of course, Howard beat Morehouse.
Of course.
And then
Del State.
All of the money games. We were on the other side. Then
Well, I mean, Norfolk got crushed by Rutgers 60-10. The only thing that really matters is South Carolina loses. So now Michael Vick not South Carolina. Virginia Tech loses, so Michael Vick is now in the possible coach for Virginia Tech here if they make a change, which is absurd to me.
There's no way. No way.
I mean, right. There's not a single way ever, but the good thing is he's already getting conversations about that type of job. I think it's ridiculous, but if I'm Michael Vick, this is one of those. Any news is good news, especially this. Yeah, put me in the conversation. So in the future, I can say that I was already considered for a Power 5 job, which is Power 4 job, It's fantastic. But they got drubbed to South Carolina State and Bethune-Cookman, 55-41.
That was closer than I thought it was going to be. Shout out to Bethune-Cookman. They have been building brick by brick. They've been building brick by brick after all of that commotion. And literally, they've been building brick by brick. So shout out to them for putting up a really good effort. But South Carolina State, man, they're just too strong. Chennis is too good of a coach.
And continues to win. Now, I will say something very interesting. This is a game I have my eye on. They play South Florida this week.
South Carolina State?
Yes.
That is going to be interesting. I think South Florida may be a little too big for him. Pause if necessary.
Definitely pause. But I'm not interested on the win or lose as much as we saw what you did when you played up to a team like South Carolina. You gave them hell. If you could do the same thing here at USF, then I think you're signing your head coaches next.
Especially with Willie Simmons winning at FIU. Over FAU for the first time in however many years in his first year. He was FAMU's coach. So you're right. You're definitely right.
Yeah, I think this is very I think it's very, very interesting. Then, of course, North Carolina Central drubbed Fayetteville State.
Money game. We have money games too in HBCU. We play down
and just pay the toll. Then we had Morgan versus Toledo, and Toledo torpedoed Morgan. That was not fun or for anybody to watch, I don't think.
Yeah, and I don't have any. That's not true. All those scores are true.
Yes. they smoked on the Morgan pack. And then Delaware State gets their second win against Bowie. Deshaun Jackson wins 2 back-to-back. I think it's been a while since they won 2 games back-to-back.
2022, first time 2-1 since 2022. Shout out to Del State and Deshaun. He gonna lock up that Northeast region. They gonna get all the players up there.
So great win for him for sure. Mike Vick, take your money and run. South Carolina State, we're gonna have a watch for you next week against University of South Florida. And next week, Hampton Howard. All the people in DC, y'all go out and support the Truth and Service Bowl, whatever they call it. We know what it is, the real HU. And that is it for the MEAC. We transfer over
to this Swizzy SWAC. Now, this is going to be an interesting topic.
It's
big results. I got a couple talking points that I want to ask once we go through the scores.
I'm intrigued. We
So,
start out
money game.
Tuskegee. Yeah. Y'all got your ass cut. 30-0 versus Jackson
Eddie.
State. 0 points is surely something.
Especially from Tuskegee. That's a good SIAC school.
Right. Next up, Alabama A&M surprises Tennessee State 23-21. I think that, once again, I alluded to this. Them losing Eddie George, I don't think that they're a bad team, but missing a guy who is doing so much and bringing so much, this is kind of the games that I don't think that you lose if you have Eddie. But A&M continues to play well. Alabama as a whole, minus the Tide right now, is playing good football.
Tide won. I'm playing good football. We'll get there. Yeah, Alabama A&M, to me, has officially entered the chat for contending for the SWAC right. East title.
Exactly.
I think that they are there. I think that they have all the pieces, and I think Jackson State and Alabama State better be on the lookout. It's going to be interesting.
Speaking of Alabama, we move on to Alabama State, 37-9. Miles look like y'all kicked a bunch of field goals and got foots in butts.
And they scored a bunch of touchdowns. Alabama State, at this point, Andrew Body has to be the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year.
He almost had a perfect game.
14-16, 311 yards and 4 touchdowns. His favorite receiver, Jalen Jones, has 13 receptions on the year with 3 touchdowns, 324 yards, but he spreads the ball around. Yeah, I am going to say that for the rest of the year. As long as they're good. I told y'all there's a reel on it. Nobody believed me. Y'all told me in the comments I was tripping.
Don't stop believing. Yeah, 4 receptions for 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hey, that's a hell of a day. Mississippi State versus Alcorn. Alcorn, y'all got the hell beat out of y'all early, middle, and often. They start out with 28 points the first quarter. I hope y'all enjoyed y'all trip to Starkville and left with your coffers filled, because it was not pretty.
And pockets lined. Well, the worst thing that happened to them was that Mississippi State figured out that they can actually play football when they beat Vanderbilt. Now, because I think if that Mississippi State team was terrible like they were last year, I think Alcorn would have scored at least a couple touchdowns. But they got confidence.
They sent a point. Hey, man. You and your buds get on out of here, brother. Next up, Lincoln, California versus Pine Bluff. We said Pine Bluff was going to whoop them, and they did, 34-8. We already covered, I think, Cookman. Yeah, Cookman in South Carolina State. Closer than it should have been. Prairie View A&M versus Rice. Tremaine Jackson, 17 points against the Rice team. And honestly, really, the second quarter was the only place they got whooped. They both scored a touchdown in the first quarter. Rice went crazy in the second quarter with 17 points. Prairie View had 3 in the third. Rice had 7, and then they both ended the fourth quarter with 1 touchdown. This game wasn't.
So it wasn't as bad as the score looked.
It's just, if you look at this game, you can say one bad quarter cost you everything. And where Rice is and where Prairie View is, they should be whooping you for more than 1 and maybe a half a quarter.
Speaking of whooping you, we can talk about Southern lost a money game 56-7 to Fresno State. I will say Coach Terrace Graves, bro, starting 1-3 ain't the best.
Well, you was destined to be to have 1 loss. Yes.
We figured North Carolina Central, but we figured North Carolina Central. My headphones about to die. But no, we good.
Next up, we got a couple games that were a lot closer than I expected. Number 1, Kentucky State held in there with Grambling. Actually started out the first quarter 14-0 and did not score again other than the third quarter where they had 10. Grambling wins 31-37. They had 2-1, 1-0 at home. Mississippi Valley State gets stomped out by Southeast Louisiana. Not the game that I was talking about that was closer than I thought it was going to be. even though this might be a salvageable win because they stopped him in the fourth quarter from scoring at all. Albany State and FAMU. This is a game I was watching all day. And for the most part, Albany State was up. Then FAMU had a really good third quarter, scored 16 points, and that pretty much was all she wrote. But FAMU, this is not good. You're 1-2 and could have easily been 0-3 against a team that is not anywhere near in the same pedigree as you. I think that we should watch very closely FAMU going forward and prepare our thoughts and prepare our prayers.
How the mighty have fallen in the SWAC as I look at this. The traditional powers of the SWAC are Grambling, Southern. Now that FAMU is over here, FAMU, I guess you could say Jackson State. They weren't, when I was younger, Jackson State wasn't good. Right. They weren't really good till Dion got there. But we could say, I would say Alcorn, but we'll say Jackson State for a traditional power. Outside of Jackson State, Southern's not good. FAMU and Grambling are holding on to win against SIAC and CIAA schools.
Talk about leaning on the everlasting.
Like, it's a new era in the SWAC. We may have entered that 70s era of like Mississippi Valley State, that 80s and 70s era. Mississippi Valley State was good, and Alabama A&M and all of those guys were really good. So shout out to Alabama State. Shout out to Alabama A&M.
Yeah, especially I will give you credit. Alabama State and Alabama A&M to a lesser degree, but State has just come out on fire, and you predicted it. And yeah, that's a hell of a call.
They brought everybody back. So right now, as of week 2, right now, who leads for the SWAC of making it to the Celebration Bowl? Who do you think? Not based on standings, just based on what you've seen.
Celebration Bowl. I mean, I think that right now the teams that I've seen continuously beat. I definitely have South Carolina State coming out of the MEAC. Jackson and Alabama State are very interesting at this point. I feel like I'm missing one team though.
Central.
And
Alabama. To me, Alabama and out of the SWAC, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, and Jackson State are starting to separate themselves from everybody else, including folks in the SWAC West. I think the SWAC West is just going to be a fun regular season conference to watch, but they're going to get smoked in the SWAC championship game by whoever they play.
That's the reason I didn't have Central in there. Is I don't think they're good enough to beat South Carolina State. I think they're good. I just don't think they're that good.
I think in a one-off, anything can happen.
Oh, absolutely. But what I'm saying is cumulatively what I'm looking at. If somebody asked me to put money right now and say you got to pick one, I'm confidently picking South Carolina State.
And that's the thing about the SWAC East. Really, the SWAC, I want to say JSU is heads and tails above everybody else, but I think ASU is right on there. I think the separation between JSU and ASU, and then Alabama State and Alabama A&M, I think the separation between each one of those is really, really small. For the MEAC, yeah, it's two-team race. Until y'all decide to get everybody back, it's going to be a two-team race for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. And I just feel like at this point, you're going to have to show South Carolina State that you can beat them before, especially the way that they played South Carolina, especially if they get some more confidence, if they play well, even decently against USF, then they're going to really think, hey, we're better than a lot of you. And they might be right.
Yep. Now, before we go to WNBA, you are not off the hook, brother. You did this last week, and you did it again this week. I'm surprised you don't have the video up here, because it is necessary. If this goes into a reel, it will. Hampton. No. What the hell, Hampton? We talked about NCAT, NCA&T, the Aggies, the Aggie Pride. Folks, I tried
to put that out of my mind.
We talked about them so bad, and Hampton was up and blew it.
With less than 60 seconds. And then the coach
of A&T, who came from Central, went and said, we're going to beat y'all blankety blank next year too.
So why this doesn't register in my mind is because ESPN broke when this happened. I'm watching the game. I look 20 to 10. I'm, just watching and trying to watch DJ Lagway throw 5 interceptions at the same time. So already my brain is wrecked. And then I'm watching, and it shows at the end, Hampton wins this game 33-30. End. So other people are saying that we lost. I'm like, we didn't lose. I'm looking at the score. And it didn't update.
We lost morally.
Yeah, and I keep looking at the score like I don't know what they're talking about. I'm also still trying to watch the Florida game as my soul escapes my body. And it just gets to a point where eventually they correct it. And I'm like, how did we lose in double overtime when we were up 20-10 with like 2 minutes left in the game? We tricked it off. It's been embarrassing the last 2 weeks. What we did against Elizabeth City was a team we should have beat. And then another team in A&T who hasn't won a game, I think, in 2 years or something like that, comes back in double overtime and beats us after we're up by 10 with less than a minute left. It's a lack of discipline. It's everything that's not good. And these are the type of losses that potentially get coaches fired. I don't want to put that out into the ethos of the atmosphere, but I have to be very realistic with myself. This is not one that was good against your rival.
Yeah, man. Look bad. So one thing about that game is we get to talk about the CAA in one fell swoop. A&T beat us.
Smoked us.
It is what it is.